After school on their way home, Urabe suggests that they relax on a park bench and begin doing their homework. But instead of homework, Tsubaki's mind is on how to kiss Urabe. Somehow, she senses this and bluntly asks him if he wants to kiss her. Tsubaki emphatically answers a yes. Expecting Urabe to pucker up, instead, Tsubaki observes her spinning like an ice skater, then depositing her concentrated drool into a test tube that she had kept in her book bag. Corking the test tube, she gives it to him, telling him to lap it up just before he goes to bed. Tsubaki does this, remarking how incredibly sweet her drool tastes, and then falls asleep. In a dream that Tsubaki has that night, when Urabe offers him a ball of hard candy, he agrees. So she pops one in her mouth and then French kisses him to eject the candy from her mouth to his. After swallowing the candy, Tsubaki loudly objects, saying that that was their first kiss and was done spontaneously, with little emotional or spiritual impact. Urabe points out that, in addition, the kiss was motivated by his jealousy of the kissing couple that he saw, and therefore the kiss did not matter. Bruh. Such a waste of a first kiss. Tsubaki then awakes in a cold sweat and ponders what the dream has shown him. The next day on the walk home, Tsubaki returns the test tube and tells Urabe that he had a weird dream. With an apprehensive look, she leads him to a nearby wooded area. She boldly asks him if he wants to kiss her, here and now, obviously capricious, and with little emotional and spiritual feeling behind it. Taking a few moments to compose his thoughts, he nervously clears his throat. He then implores her that their first kiss should be very special, that it should be only when, and if they have the same romantic feelings and mood, and that kind of kiss should never be done spontaneously, or without an emotional connection to one another. Tsubaki breaks off from his speech when he sees Urabe blushing ever so sweetly, as she declares that she feels the same way about kissing. In class the next day, Tsubaki is musing how to emotionally connect with Urabe. He still does not recognize the value of their drool bond, when he falls off of his seat onto the floor, jarring him to his senses. Ogata, the star of the school soccer team, notices his buffoonery too. Later that afternoon after class, the students are cleaning several classrooms. Tsubaki is cleaning windows while Urabe takes a full trash can outside. Ogata follows her outside and takes that opportunity to do a love confession to her, asking her out on a date. She tells him that she will give him an answer tomorrow. When the cleaning is done, Urabe and Tsubaki, as usual, walk home together. While doing their drool bond, Urabe reveals that Ogata has asked her out, and when Tsubaki expresses outrage, she tells him not to interfere in any way. That night, he agonizes over her decision. Begins to dress for the day in her school uniform. As she holds her white panties in her hand, an idea comes to mind. Later, as she walks to school, she tries to hold down her skirt with her free hand as the wind begins to whip about. At lunchtime, she suddenly leaves the classroom with Ogata following her. Outside, he asks her what her answer is going to be, with Urabe trying to keep her skirt from blowing around in the wind. She does not answer, but asks him to close his eyes and begins a drool routine with him. Little does Ogata know, but he is getting an enhanced drool today, the day of the strong wind. He accepts her drool-covered finger, but when questioned by Urabe about his reaction to her drool, declares that nothing at all is happening to his body. Urabe then, while keeping both hands on her upper thighs to try and keep her skirt from being flipped up by the wind, forcefully affirms to Ogata that he can never, through all eternity, be her boyfriend. Emotional, damn it! Later that afternoon, when Urabe and Tsubaki are walking home together and Urabe is still trying to keep the wind from appending her skirt, Tsubaki asks her about her answer to Ogata. She loudly states that she turned him down, of course. Immediately, she begins her daily drool routine, but unknown to Tsubaki with enhanced drool. Tsubaki once again has a violent reaction, with blood gushing out of his nose. Urabe says that she knew that probably would be his reaction, as she wanted to compare Ogata's reaction to her drool with his reaction. She reaches into a side pocket of her skirt and brings out a pair of white panties and gives them to Tsubaki, announcing that these are the white panties that she was going to wear this morning. However, once again holding her hand between her legs to keep her skirt down from the wind, she tells Tsubaki that she has not been wearing panties all day under her school uniform. Tsubaki absent-mindedly puts Urabe's unworn white panties into his front pocket. When told by Urabe that Tsubaki is now, and actually has been, emotionally connected to her, enough to potentially qualify for a kiss, he instinctively and spontaneously attempts to hug her, not realizing the past consequences of doing something like that. Reactively, Urabe begins the wind-up for a panty scissors attack, but quickly realizes that her scissors are not under her skirt because she is not wearing any panties. It takes a few moments for her to remember that her scissors are in her book bag, so she takes them out, and now that she has cooled down a bit, merely taps Tsubaki on the head with the scissors. She tells him not to hug her like that without first asking permission. She then takes his hand, so that although they still have not kissed, they are now walking hand in hand out in public as a boyfriend and girlfriend in love would. However, because Urabe is leaving and has one hand in Tsubaki's hand and the other hand holding her book bag, the wind catches her skirt and Tsubaki catches a partial small glimpse. One day at school at lunchtime, Tsubaki and Ueno are sitting together and sharing their lunch as they always do. Ueno remarks that he is eager to see his girlfriend Oka wearing a summer track uniform consisting of a t-shirt and brief shorts, which shows him more of her body size and shape. From out of nowhere, Oka walks in and sits at Urabe's desk, asking if she can eat her bento next to her. Urabe agrees and returns to sleeping. Soon, however, Urabe is awakened by the delicious aroma of Oka's lunch. Oka offers to feed Urabe the delicacies that she has made, and much to the shock and surprise of Tsubaki, Ueno, and the other students, Urabe agrees. That afternoon, as they are walking home from school, Tsubaki questions Urabe if Oka and herself are now friends, to which Urabe flatly denies it, with Tsubaki pointing out that Urabe looks so happy. Therefore, Tsubaki is happy because Urabe has found a new female friend. Urabe boldly declares that she needs no friends because Tsubaki is her one and only boyfriend. They then do their daily drool routine and then part company. Little does either one know or suspect, but Oka is secretly watching them from across the street on an elevated walkway. That night, Tsubaki has another erotic dream about Urabe. They are on a canal boat that resembles the lower half of a broken eggshell. They are traveling down a waterway in the bizarre cityscape, where they had been in previous dreams. Urabe is feeding him bento delicacies, but then offers to feed him a piece of omelet by kissing him. Tsubaki awakes, seemingly tasting an omelet in his mouth. Next day during PE class, Tsubaki and Ueno are vexed because they are inside practicing judo, while the girls are outside doing relay races on the running track, too far away for Ueno to see Oka in her track outfit. On one section of the race, Urabe and a twin-tailed girl get their feet tangled and Urabe falls to the gravel track, injuring her knee. Nevertheless, Urabe gets up and completes her relay. Afterwards, the twin-tailed girl apologizes, and even though Urabe says that her scraped and bleeding knee is not that serious, the coach tells her to go to the nurse's office for treatment. Oka offers to take her, since Oka is the class health rep. However, the nurse is not in her office at this time, so Oka decides to clean and dress Urabe's wound herself. It then dawns on Oka that this is a rare opportunity to confirm something about Urabe. She takes a bottle of cider soda from the office refrigerator, drinks from it, and then offers a drink to Urabe, which she accepts. After drinking, Urabe returns the soda to Oka, who drinks from the bottle again. With this indirect method, Oka has now tasted Urabe's drool. Oka asks Urabe if they can be friends, but is once again rebuffed with a resounding no. A disappointed Oka then takes her leave, only to be stopped by Urabe, nonchalantly mentioning to her that her leg is injured and bleeding. Urabe tests the newly formed girl-with-girl drool bond again by cutting her hand with a box cutter and then doing a repeat drool routine with Oka. Oka receives the same cut on her hand, thereby confirming the validity and transmission abilities of their drool bond. Urabe then shares the fact that she already has a boy-with-girl drool bond with Tsubaki. Oka says that she already knows this because she has been spying on them, learning that not only are they boyfriend and girlfriend, but they share a drool bond as well. Oka confesses that she wanted to befriend Tsubaki with a drool bond, but that would have been awkward. So Oka would have to settle for a drooling friendship with Urabe. Urabe once again declines friendship with Oka. That afternoon during the regular drool routine, Urabe again transmits her injuries, this time to Tsubaki, who begins to hurt from the knee and bleed from his left hand. The next day at lunchtime, Ueno tells Tsubaki that is going to use mental telepathy on Oka to get her to share her bento with him. Urabe is sleeping at her desk as usual, but suddenly wakes up and goes to the vending machine for an apple cider soda. Oka leaves the room about the same time and follows Urabe. Unknown to Urabe, Oka is about to do a test of their newly formed drool bond. Oka concentrates on a mental image, then feeds her drool to Urabe, right out in the middle of the school's hallway. Urabe mentions how incredibly sweet her drool is. By that comment and reaction, Oka is able to deduce that, although she and Ueno have repeatedly kissed, Urabe and Tsubaki have never kissed. Oka's test was successful. Urabe is speechless as to the fact that Oka can know of her not kissing Tsubaki, so Oka moves on by inviting her to share her bento outside, just the two of them. Just then, Urabe's stomach growls and she mentions that her body's rhythm has changed, so she accepts. Oka is disappointed that Urabe again sets aside friendship, but is glad that she is willing to accept Oka's hospitality and snacks. Outside, both girls are eating on a bench. Soon, Tsubaki and Ueno happen to walk nearby on a covered walkway. Both boys are startled and dismayed that their two girlfriends have become so close, so intimate, so soon.